So he did
He-
Pitch Black. He did XXX.
They tried to do a new James Bond franchise with XXX.
I
That
saw
didn't
that
work
in the
out.
movie theater when it came out. The whole
Yeah,
like
and
bed post dancing scene.
you saw that in the theater?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
I remember him having that big furry jacket, but not wearing a shirt underneath, and being like, "It's a little weird that he'd wear this big puffy furry jacket, but like no shirt."
The late 90s were pretty wild when it came to that. Lacey, I have some good news and some bad news. Which one do you want first?
The bad news.
The bad news is all the dinosaurs are extinct. That's the bad news.
Okay, and what's the good news?
The good news is they're making another Jurassic movie. And this one might be called Jurassic
I think we've talked about this.
City. And we
City?
have some potential breaking plot story details that we're going to get into later. So I hope you're ready for some more Jurassic talk. So hi, everybody. Welcome to Nerdy and Nice. We hope you had a great weekend. Hope you stayed cool wherever you are, as summer is officially underway and things are heating up here in Nerdville because there's a lot to talk about. So before I do that, Lacey, Jurassic Park. We'll talk about the story in a bit. I just want to get your quick thoughts. Are you a fan of the franchise, or are you like me, where it's like I really love the first one and don't really care too much for anything else?
So I love the first one, and a couple weeks back we talked about how Gareth Edwards is on board for this one and how we were like, "Oh, I'm interested." But then you broke down like what the overall story of the sequel series of these movies were. I don't know if you remember that. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And you're like talking about how it was like some guy trying to save his daughter through cloning or dark science, secrets only the Sith knew.
Right.
And you blew my mind because I was like, "Wait, what movie did they explain this?" And you're like, "This one." And I was like, "I've seen that one and I didn't pick that up." So that's how well they're telling that story. And I was saying how I don't know if I needed another one. And it was specifically about how both Glenn Powell and Jennifer Lawrence turned it down.
Yes, among others, I believe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's kind of crazy to hear that, but also almost crazy to hear that Scarlett Johansson is doing it.
She is.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Jurassic, because I can't say Jurassic Park because it's Jurassic World now, but I don't know if they're changing it. But the Jurassic franchise is one continuity, and it's really messy. It's been going on for 30 years, and I feel like all they've been doing is trying to chase the magic of the original. And I think even Steven Spielberg fell short of that with The Lost World. So, but it's a franchise like Transformers. It doesn't matter how good or bad, these movies make money. People go to see them. So it's just, they're going to keep making them.
Absolutely do.
Yeah. Fast and the Furious. Like, there's certain franchises where people walk into the theater, shut their brain off, hop in their seat, and just get visually mesmerized for an hour and 45 to 2 hours.
Well, you know why they go to Fast and the Furious, right?
No.
Because it's about family.
Oh, I thought it was to learn how to steal DVD players. I
No.
was wrong. Yeah.
It's about family.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did you not get that? Is that over your head?
Well, that's what he says in the movie, right?
In every movie. That's like his tagline. It's about family.
Oh my God.
My favorite meme a couple years ago was the one where they just like kept doing Vin Diesel's character.
How is saying "I am Groot" over and over better dialogue than that?
I don't know, but he's that Iron Giant. What else did he do? He did that one where he's like a blind guy, right? Or he can only see in the dark. What was that?
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. Yeah, that's a throwback. So he did Pitch Black. He did XXX.
They tried to do a new James Bond franchise with XXX.
I saw that in the movie theater when it came out. The whole like bed post dancing scene.
You saw that in the theater? Jesus.
I remember him having that big furry jacket, but not wearing a shirt underneath, and being like, "It's a little weird that he'd wear this big puffy furry jacket, but
The
like
late
sure.
the late 90s were pretty wild when it came to that. Like
What
big
year did that
jackets.
come out, Triple X? I
I'm
had
gonna
to be in like
guess
7th grade.
1999.
Film series. It came out in 2002.
Oh, interesting.
So I was in 8th grade when that came out. So
Wow.
that was like one of the probably the first movies I saw without parents that I was like, I'm gonna see Triple X.
Wow, great choice. Your dad's like, "You're going to see what?" It's like, "No, no, no." Can I this isn't in our notes, so I'm just gonna say this too.
Hmm.
I am very interested in this movie called The Bike Riders. And I know
Is
it
that
came
the one
out
I've been seeing a lot of press for with Austin, whatever his name is?
Austin Butler, Tom
Butler.
Hardy,
Mhm,
Jodie Comer, who is Rey's mom for Star
mhm.
Wars fans. Tom Hardy, who plays a deleted scene stormtrooper in The Last Jedi. So for the Star Wars fans, there's that connection. Yeah, so it opened this past weekend. I'm not sure how it did with the box office, but I've always been a Tom Hardy fan, and this movie looks like a throwback to Steve McQueen, Paul Newman type stuff.
Mhm,
And it just looks like a classically made movie, and I'm very
mhm.
interested in it. And I haven't been sold on Austin Butler yet. And this might be the movie that does it, because I know he seems like a very nice guy and genuine guy on red carpets.
Everyone says he's so talented, but the Elvis kind of voice thing he did that, like, he couldn't get rid of it just seemed a little weird to me.
It did seem weird. That does seem weird to me, and I wasn't even a big fan of his portrayal of Elvis, unfortunately. But um, good thing my opinion doesn't matter, because he grew a lot of success out of that, so I'm happy for him. But Bike Riders,
Mhm,
yeah, the Bike Riders I want to check out, because I am a big Tom Hardy fan, and we'll see how that does. So if anyone has seen it, don't spoil it, but hit me up and let me know if you liked it. All right. Let us get into this show, Lacey. Obviously, everyone by now, if they're listening, they're subscribed to Nerdy and Nice. They found us on Apple or Spotify, or they're dialed in right here on the youtube.com/@TRB podcast channel. Do us a favor. If you like what we do at TRB and you're like checking us out with Nerdy and Nice, or you just found Nerdy and Nice, please just tell a friend. Say, hey, you like podcasts? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you like movies? Do you like TV? Check out Nerdy and Nice. Just look it up on a podcast
mhm.
app and have fun. And we appreciate that very, very much as we try to grow this second show of ours into the success that we found with the Resistance broadcast. That's all I had to say. Now, Lacey, I have one question for you, and that is, what's happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough! I get the point.
Why'd you say it like that? That was weird. All right. As he hinted, or we kind of both hinted at the top of the show, our first story is that they are in fact making another Jurassic World movie with Gareth Edwards, Rogue One fame, at the helm, and it's going to be called most likely Jurassic City. That's coming from Variety. This report that I'm reading from right now is from Slash Film, but they say that they've also gotten some really unique tidbits about what the movie's going to be about, which is, quote, a completely fresh take, launching a new era of Jurassic era. Oh, wait, sorry, I put era early. A new Jurassic era following 3 adults and 3 teens. Ready? Getting stuck on an island. Period. That's the fresh take.
Uh,
John, how
uh,
are you moved? Are you enthralled? Are you jumping on the boat to go onto the island yourself? Where are you with this?
I'll tell you where I'm at, Lacey. When it comes to seeing this movie in theaters, I'm going to spare a lot of expenses.
Okay. Well played.
I just I well, me and my friend Greg have this thing where we saw the first Jurassic World in the theater together.
Mhm.
Um and we went in like, oh, new Jurassic, they're relaunching it. They got Chris Pratt. Like we went in like interested.
So did
And
I. Yeah.
we walked out like, what the hell did we just watch? And like a lot of people liked the first Jurassic World, but we like found ourselves laughing about it at just how absurd it was that this guy was like training raptors and like stopping them, like making them stop with his hand held out, and
He's
like
Owen. He's a rough and tumble guy. He's
they
Star-Lord, but more serious.
that was the other thing. We left the movie, and I remember watching the first Jurassic Park and remembering the names. Be like Alan Grant, and like just knowing all those names, even the
Yeah.
kids, just knowing their names.
Ian
Tim,
Malcolm.
and yeah. But when we 5 minutes out of leaving this movie, I'm like, dude, I have no idea what Chris Pratt's character's name was. I don't
Owen.
know what Bryce that one. I know.
Hers
But
is Claire.
Bryce Dallas Howard. I was like, oh, the girl with the heels running away from T-Rex.
That's the I'm sorry. As a woman, as someone that wears high heels, if you were being chased by a T-Rex, if you were being chased by anything, a dog, a bunny, a bug, you'd kick those heels off.
Right.
There's no way you'd be running in those high heels.
You
That
put
is
them
the
on your
first
hands.
thing. No, you'd kick them off and run barefoot like any normal, like, I'm going to get out of here quickly move.
Oh, okay. I would hold them just in case you use them as weapons.
I mean, you could do that too, but she had a
Yeah.
flare in her hand.
Oh, she had the flare.
But
flare
I think,
works.
which was obviously a reference to the
Reference
original,
to the
but to me, it makes no sense. And I remember Bryce Dallas Howard was like, I don't know why people are like so caught up on that, because no one would do that. No one would run around in high heels from a T-Rex. You're not going that fast. I mean,
Yeah.
some people do go fast, but the first thing you do is kick them off. So it's a little ridiculous. I thought the death scene was a little much. I know it was supposed to be like the first ridiculous death of a woman in the movie series. Like they did it on purpose and the actress was all for it.
Yeah.
It left me feeling icky. Like I didn't like it. It just
that
felt
was
like
pretty
too
gross.
much. Yeah, it felt too much, especially for a
'Cause it-
character that like didn't earn it.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the woman that got picked up by the
Yes.
pterodactyl and then
Yes.
dropped into the. So yeah, those are the types of deaths in movies that bother me, like this slow death, like
Or she
the-
didn't earn it. Like she wasn't a bad person. You were like, whatever. Like she just
Yeah.
was trying to do her crappy assistant job for someone that like didn't care. She was stuck babysitting these kids that weren't listening to anything she was saying.
Right.
I applaud the actress for doing it because they actually did drop her like from 100 feet up in the air or something like that into the tank and everything to get the right shots. And she did it multiple times, like them pulling her out of the water and dropping her back in. Like she did all those stunts.
Was the dinosaur actually in the tank when they did it?
Yeah, John. They just pulled up a whole dinosaur and were like, let's just risk this. Let's just see what happens here.
Okay.
No,
I think
they had her on a crane and they were just picking her up and dropping her into the water.
My son has the toy of that dinosaur.
Oh, the big like crocodile one?
The one in the giant like aquarium that eats
It has
like
fins
whites.
though, right?
Yeah, it has fins. It's gigantic.
They have it in the new ride. You should try to go on it. I know Kathleen said she wouldn't go on it with you, but the new one has that monster in it. Maybe Johnny will want to go on it.
If we go to Universal. But yeah, I mean, I believe this article said they're going back to Isla Nublar, like the original island from Jurassic Park, and it's like, Jurassic Park can only pull the wool over my eyes so many times, where it's like, no, this time it's like Terminator. It's just like this time we're really gonna get it right. We got it this time, and they always march out the OG people. Like they'll get a quote from Spielberg,
Which they did
about
for the last time.
Yeah. And they'll do it this time too. Spielberg will say something about how Gareth really captured the feeling or whatever. Until I see it and believe it, I'm not going to assume that they're going to make another good Jurassic Park movie. And I don't mean to burst people's bubbles. I know for a lot of people, like I said, it's a fun thing to go see, and you get your popcorn and you escape the real world for a while. And I completely understand that. But because I love the first one so much, it hurts me every time they make a new one, because I feel like in a weird way it impacts the original. So I need to see more of what they're going to do with this one, but it really feels like this franchise needs to go the way of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it does have Jonathan Bailey in it from Bridgerton fame. He's like the hot guy right now. So he joined the crew recently, and I know he's been posting pictures of him like working out, being like getting ready for Jurassic Park. But I don't know how many times they're gonna do this. It kind of feels like they took the original author's book, Michael Crichton or whatever his name is. Blanking right now. Michael Crichton? Yes.
Yeah, Crichton.
And taking his book and just running it over with a Jurassic Park Jeep and then backing up, running it back over. It just seems like too much. It's how many times are you going to tell a story over and over and over again? And I am so sick of studios using, quote, completely fresh take. Because is it a fresh take? Because we know from many interviews and talks and press conferences that a lot of these studios are like, we're building with nostalgia. That's what people want, is nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're telling me you're giving me a completely fresh take, then it doesn't need to be Jurassic Park then. It should be something else.
This is the take. They're in the boardroom. Who does this? Universal? So you probably have like Frank Marshall in there. And they're on this whiteboard and they're like, they just walk up to it. And they just like erase world, and he just writes city, and they're like, yes, city. That's the fresh take. We're going from world to city.
But that doesn't make sense if they're going to an island that it's going to be city.
True. And by the way, if they are going to run over, put in reverse, run over, put in reverse with the Jeep to the franchise, are they wearing heels when they're driving the Jeep?
Depends who's driving. Must drive faster.
Gareth Edwards in heels, running over the franchise. No, I'm rooting for Gareth Edwards. He seems like a good dude.
But speaking of nostalgia, there was another announcement this week that many people were actually pretty pumped for, which came from Jeff Snyder. And it was that Josh Gad, Mel Brooks, and Josh Greenbaum are teaming up for Spaceballs sequel at Amazon MGM. It's so weird to say Amazon MGM. So Josh Gad is teaming up with these guys to create a new sequel to the very, very popular 1987 film Spaceballs, which had, of course, Evil Dark Helmet with Rick Moranis, President Scroob, which was Brooks, which my understanding is like it's a Yoda character, right? I've never seen Spaceballs. I'm about to throw that out there, and a bunch of people are about to boo me.
No, he plays multiple characters. He plays Yogurt, who is like a Yoda character.
Yogurt, got it.
Yeah, but he also plays.
So then there's Barf, which is the Chewbacca character, right? Which was played by John Candy. So I'm assuming Josh Gad is going to take up the Barf character.
I thought about that, and I'm like, that would piss me off. I feel like they shouldn't do that. Like, what kind of, like, all right. I understand that the character's been played by multiple people over the years, and, Sean Connery was an incredible James Bond, and, like, they moved on with other people. But, like, John can't, like, what kind of, and we're just throwing that out there. We don't know that he's doing this, but the like ego for Josh Gad to be developing this and be like, I'm just going to take over John Candy's role. That is, it's a little wild to me.
I mean, I just know that they kept showing obviously the picture of John Candy with Bill Pullman, who is like Lone Star, which is the Han Solo character.
Yeah.
So I just made that connection via what they were posting online, which was with Barf. So that's why I was like, oh, it must be that character, because who else would he play? Because Josh Gad to me is Olaf from Frozen, and Barf is a very much Olaf-y type character, like the sidekick comedic role. I do want to add here that Amazon declined to comment on this story. So we'll see if they end up actually announcing this some point this year.
Which means it's happening.
Yes, it does, because they would just say no if it wasn't. You're right. Yeah. And we've learned that personally, by the way, that we've talked about something or asked about something, and they're like, we decline. It's like, okay, so it is. Yeah. Which, although nowadays it seems like they'll just say, no, it's not. And then that also means that it's happening, because they just straight up lie. But yeah, I am not one that falls into the fan of this movie. I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces. I get the jokes that people make about it. I've seen all the little clips and references, but I've never actually sat down to watch this movie. It's just not something that's been, I don't know, on my radar, I guess. But do you think it's something I should watch, or do you think it's going to be a little, because some of Mel Brooks stuff, like, he is really funny, but to me, it's just a little too much.
I don't think he's 97. Like, I don't know how involved he's going to be in with this more than like, maybe he developed a relationship with Josh Gad, and he's sort of like putting his support behind it, and maybe he's an executive producer. I know it says that
More of
Gad's
a
attached to
blessing.
produce and star,
Mhm.
which it says Mel Brooks. I almost said Mel Gibson. Mel Brooks will also produce. I don't think like Mel Brooks isn't putting pen to paper here. We're not going to get that classic Mel Brooks humor. It's going to be Josh Gad and whoever else is writing it. Josh Greenbaum is directing.
Greenbaum, yeah.
Oh, the script written by Benji Sammet and Dan Hernandez, who did Detective Pikachu. It's like they're going to try to capture that, but like Mel Brooks has a very unique flair, and the absurdities of his humor are so unique to him that unless he's doing it, you're not going to get it. And so, and I don't really like Spaceballs that much, and and that's not because they make
Mm.
fun of Star Wars. I love Rick Moranis. I love John Candy. I love a lot of the people in the movie, Joan Rivers. But I just don't. And it became a cult classic. It only made like 38 million at the box office, but I'm not
Mhm.
that big of a fan of it. I think they might have some fun with it. They need to be careful because of how fandoms are different now today, where some people might see them poking fun at Star Wars and be like, "See, they hate Star Wars too," because they're idiots. But
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't, and no John Candy, no Joan Rivers. Rick Moranis has been retired. He was going to come back for the Honey I Shrunk the Kids thing, that I think Josh Gad was also doing, and that fell
He said
through.
no to Ghostbusters.
He said no, yeah. So if he's not coming back for this, don't make this movie, because that you have no Joan Rivers, no John Candy, and then you're not gonna have Dark Helmet. Like,
Mhm.
just don't do it. So I'm not actually. I don't mean to be negative. I'm not excited about this. I'm really not. I can't imagine it being even remotely close to as good as the first one, which I didn't even think was that good anyway. So I think this is a goofy thing, and I don't know what Josh Gad has on people, but the dude keeps getting projects, and his career keeps getting bigger and bigger, and he seems to still be in almost everything. And good for him, but this one, not for me.
He is in everything, isn't he? He's just, like, getting every role or
I
every
think,
opportunity, really.
yeah, it's like, how many Josh Gads are there? Like, this guy is just so busy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Um, Here's something that you might be excited for, though, which is the upcoming Steven Spielberg mysterious May 2026 release from Universal and Amblin, with a script by Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds scribe David Coep. The project is described as a two-hander, and it's supposed to have Emily Blunt attached to it. Now I love Emily Blunt personally.
I
I
do
think she's
too.
good. She's amazing in everything she does, whether it's horror or romance, or a rom-com,
Devil Wears
thriller,
Prada.
mystery. Yes, she's in that. Yep. She's also in Edge of Tomorrow, which I'm one of those people that has my fingers crossed that they're going to make a sequel, and I know she's on board too. So once again, we talked about Top Gun last week, but it's another project that's just waiting on Tom Cruise. So it's funny to just constantly hear all these people being like, "Hey Tom, can we get you over here real quick?" But she is supposedly attached to this. She's supposed to be starring in this new anticipated project. So, what do you think about her? And are you still excited for this Steven Spielberg movie? I mean, he has been doing a lot of stuff, obviously, over the years. He did West Side Story, which people absolutely loved, even though it didn't have the big splash I think he was expecting it to have. But this seems like he's getting back to his like summer blockbuster. Let's get some people in the seats to eat some popcorn and watch a sci-fi film.
I agree. I want, like, nothing would be cooler than seeing Steven Spielberg introduce us to the next great film franchise. You know, I've been longing for that. Like, we got spoiled as kids, like just so many incredible, original new things. And I feel like we haven't gotten that in a while. And it's been just like, let's keep tapping into that old stuff because we can't make the next new thing. And it's like, who better than Steven Spielberg to do that? But I do have, and so I'll start by saying I'm excited for this because I like Emily Blunt a lot. I think she's a great actor. She's very charming. She's
She makes good
beautiful.
choices. That's the big thing.
Yeah, she's got it all. She's got the looks, the talent, the charm, the humor, all of it. And I'm down with this casting. I'm just need to learn more about what this is because my trepidation, you know, David Koepp, we just talked about, he's writing the new Jurassic World 4, Jurassic City, whatever. He wrote the original Jurassic Park, but his other more recent pairings with Spielberg, and I say recent loosely, is, you know, War of the Worlds, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and, you know, mixed results on those. He also wrote Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit in 2014, which was the one that people forget about. It was the one that what's his name did, Chris Pine. Like, people completely forgot he was even in that.
I totally forgot about that.
And then he also wrote that really bad Mummy movie with Tom Cruise, like one of Tom Cruise's only flops ever.
No, he did the Mummy movie. All I know is that one scene from that movie where Tom Cruise, of course, is running.
Yeah. And that movie was supposed to launch the new, like, Monsters universe.
Dark universe, yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Universe or whatever. So I have trepidation, but I know Spielberg is getting up there. He's getting close to 80. I think he probably understands he's got one more crack at, like, really leaving a nice, another big, giant footprint in pop culture. So hopefully they can get it together and really just churn out something incredible. So I'm staying positive on this. I love the Emily Blunt casting. And to your point, she seems to only pick good stuff. Like Quiet Place, her and her husband, John Krasinski, like, that came out of nowhere. And now it's a franchise. It's just, so I agree with what you're saying. I think with her being on there, it lends credence to, like, yeah, no, I'm never going to say no to Steven Spielberg if I'm an actor. But with her, it might be like, you know, maybe she would have. Like, I don't know. So I am interested in this. I want to hear more, but I am excited that she's on board.
Yeah, one of the craziest things I heard about Quiet Place with her was that John Krasinski gave her the script and was like, hey, can you just tell me what you think about this? And she read it and she loved it so much that was like, if you don't cast me in this, I'm divorcing you. It was basically something she jokingly said to him. It was like, you better give me this role. And he said that she's like unbelievable in it. That's another movie I have not seen. I don't like scary movies, but I've seen bits and pieces that have haunted me.
She's great in that movie. They're all great, actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good movie.
I'm pumped about this. I love her. I love everything that she's in. She was just in Fall Guy, which is still on my watch list. I couldn't imagine a better person for this, honestly. For an original idea that's science fiction, she's well loved by everyone. You got to go out with something like that someone's going to carry that movie, and you know it's going to be her. I'm curious to find out who eventually will be the leading male in the series, because you know it's going to be some big guy. I'm hoping it's not Chris Pratt. I'm sorry. He does make entertaining movies. I get it. Please don't be Chris Pratt. It's got to be someone else. I would be cool if it was someone that we don't know yet. Like,
yeah,
make it someone's big break.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. Yeah.
I'd love that. Well, some more interesting news this week was Netflix announced that they're opening massive entertainment, dining, and shopping complexes in 2 cities in 2025. They're going to be experiential activities tied to the streamer's major franchises, Bridgerton, Stranger Things, Squid Game, and others. But they want to make it clear that it's not a theme park. So it's like shopping, restaurants, AI maybe, or like some type of photo booth or something like that. One is happening
permanent or pop-ups?
They're going to be permanent locations, I'm assuming, for a time to see if they do well, and then they're either going to close or they're not going to be traveling around, which they have done before. They've done the traveling stuff. They did a traveling one with Bridgerton, and they also did a traveling Stranger Things. Didn't you go to that one?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think
Dressed up too.
Yeah, if we're looking at those instances, I would assume they were testing how people would deal with those type of scenarios, who would show up, would they sell out, and then they're putting them to use in these locations, which one is King of Prussia, which is near Philadelphia, and then the Galleria Dallas, each spanning footprints of more than 100,000 square feet. They're going to have Bridgerton, Stranger Things, Squid Game, Money Heist, and Netflix Bites, designed to, quote, create an unforgettable venue to explore your favorite Netflix stories and characters beyond the screen year-round, the company said. John, will you be going to, quote, Netflix House?
Well, like you mentioned, I did go to the Stranger Things experience in Brooklyn, and that was awesome. Like, that exceeded my expectations. You got to, like, sort of experience being a part of Stranger Things because they take you into the hospital. You go to like the Upside Down. It's 3D. It was like really, really cool. And like things you did change the story a little bit, sort of like what Galaxy's Edge was supposed to do. And then you leave and you go into the mall, and that's where they have the actual food courts and all that stuff. So it was very
cool.
It was a very like fun thing to do with a lot of things to see. So I could see this being something people like. And like imagine being able to do like Squid Game stuff. Like that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Bridgerton experience is like. Do you just like get into a bad relationship or something? I don't know. Like
Well, the funny thing is I did kind of make the connection myself between your experience at the Stranger Things and then what they're discussing here. Later in the article, they do say we've launched more than 50 experiences in 25 cities at Netflix House, represents the next generation of our offerings. So their ideas is that you would go and maybe waltz with your partner to a Taylor Swift song of replica of the Bridgerton set, and then walk around the corner to compete on the Glass Bridge Challenge from Squid Game. And then you'd also get some food. But then, hey, maybe you want that Hellfire Club t-shirt you always wanted from Stranger Things, and there's a store there that you can buy it from. So it's kind of this multi-touch thing of, oh, you like Bridgerton? That's here. But then there's also this. And then there's foods that explore all the different shows that they have from all around the world. I would totally go to this. I would totally do this.
It does seem very cool. So I don't know. Does Philly do a convention? Like maybe we could...
King of Prussia is not that far from us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to check it out. Yeah,
I've been there before. Have you ever been to King of Prussia? It's one of the biggest malls.
No, I don't think so.
Huge, gigantic.
I've been to Philly. I don't know if I went to the mall though.
The mall's like outside of Philly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't, but this is interesting, and I like the fact that like the mall, like in the mall near us, like they're changing. The retail is fading, so they're changing it to these experience things instead, and these new ventures are popping in there. So this is Netflix getting ahead of the game. I have felt that over the past year, Netflix has really turned things around. Now, I know they've hiked their prices, and that pisses me off.
Continue to, yes.
Yeah, but last year, this time, between when Stranger Things 4 ended and like around last year, I was like, man, Netflix feels like bargain bin right now. Like you go on there and you're like, this is all crap. But now they're getting all these shows back, all these legacy shows. They got Seinfeld. They just got Dexter. I think they got Lost. They have a bunch of stuff. And then all these new shows and new movies that they're doing. It's big time. Netflix is back in a big way. And I think this is getting ahead of the game because I can see a lot of other streamers or studios trying to do something like this in spaces like shopping malls.
Yeah, I think you see people making a lot of complaints like we talked about last week with new rides and experiences at theme parks like Disney, who have carried kind of the mantle of what a true theme park experience might be like. And people like Netflix are kind of challenging that. They're going, that's not what people want anymore. People want more. People want to have that moment that they can take a picture of that they were there, or they can walk onto a set of their favorite show. They want to be a part of what they're watching. And we've talked about how Star Wars Galaxy's Edge on TRB, we feel kind of missed the mark on that. Like you're not walking on into a Star Wars movie. You're walking into a scene that they came up with that is mentioned in some comics and books, but it's not Star Wars. Whereas Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you're walking onto what looks like the set. You're walking into Diagon Alley or into Hogwarts. Yeah. So I think Netflix is going more of the Universal route, which they do the whole horror fest and stuff that they've worked with Netflix before. I think Netflix was also testing stuff with them, and they're going, we could do this on our own. So yeah, I would totally do it.
I don't need to be to fool myself that I'm a part of this new story in your thing. I want to go where I want to go where I saw that on screen. Like I saw that
where my favorite character was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. This is cool.
Yeah. What was also cool this week was Russell Crowe kind of put Dakota Johnson. I'm saying Dakota Fanning in my head, but it's not. It's Dakota Johnson. In her place a little bit with her Madam Web marketing press conferences where she was kind of talking bad about the movie, so to speak. She was very much, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this movie is. I don't know what's going on. And she kind of played aloof a little bit, dry, sarcastic, which was very funny. Don't get me wrong. I was one of the people I was like, wow, she's hilarious. But Russell Crowe kind of pushed back a little bit, or should I say snapped back a little bit.
Yeah.
In a new interview he did for GQ, he said, you're telling me you signed up for a Marvel movie in some effing universe for cartoon characters and you didn't get the pathos, yeah. If you're expecting this to be some kind of life-changing event, I think you're here for the wrong reasons. Like, it just makes me laugh so hard that he was like, I'm sorry, you signed up for this movie and you don't know what it's about. You didn't get the whole idea of it. You're not going to go out there and sell the movie, because we both know, John, marketing sells the movie, whether it's a good movie, bad movie, whatever. Your actors and the conversations around your movie are what sell it and make it money. And she came out hot from day one being like, this movie sucks. You shouldn't see this movie, basically. I don't know why I'm here. What day is it? Which is funny to me as someone that is like, who would do this, you know? But to someone, apparently to Russell Crowe, he's like, what are you doing? You're making a mockery of what we do here. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I like Russell Crowe. I like him as an actor. Like The Nice Guys, I feel like is a movie that didn't really get it to do. Him and Ryan Gosling, like that's another movie I low-key want a sequel to, the way I want for Solo, and of course what I wanted for Man of Steel. And it's funny he brings up Man of Steel here, because he's like, look, I've done these movies so I can talk about it, which I like, because you don't want to see, an actor like Daniel Day-Lewis making a comment like this, because then it feels like a bully. Because then you're like, well, you didn't do this. You didn't experience these movies. Like, who are you to like blast Dakota Johnson? Whereas Russell Crowe has done Man of Steel. He did one of the Thor movies too, I believe, one of the Taika ones.
He did Dark World, I thought.
Oh yeah,
I thought he did Dark World.
Was it not. Oh God, not Love and Thunder. What was the other one Taika did?
Oh, he did do Love and he did do Love and Thunder.
Oh, Love and Thunder. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, that's the one I haven't seen. So
he's done same. So he's done the wacky Taika stuff. He's done the more heavy emotional Man of Steel stuff. So he's done different types of these comic book movies. But I like when an actor sort of takes the seriousness out of it, and like he's like, listen, let's be real here. And I love that about it. So I don't think he's necessarily taking a jab at her. I think he's just saying like, look, when we as actors sign up for these movies, we know what we're getting.
It's a little bit of a jab, a little bit.
I think it's more of like he's surprised she said that. I don't think it's like a personal attack on her or anything like that.
No. Yeah.
So I mean, there's not much else to it. I like when actors sometimes, because there's nothing worse than when you see award shows and actors toss around the word like courageous and you're brave and all this stuff, and they really make or the worst are those like Variety or Hollywood Reporter roundtables where these actors just sit there and like, I can't even use the phrasing because we're a PG show, but they basically do things to one another to just keep lifting each other up and make acting seem like it's the most impossible thing in the world, and it's like life-changing experiences for the viewers to see what these people are doing. And you got a guy like Russell Crowe's like, look, it's a cartoon movie. You see where your mark is, you hit it, and if you don't, you
It's
do
not
it
that
again.
serious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that serious. So I enjoy this comments from Russell Crowe.
Nice. I agree. I hope more actors are honest in their reviews of things and their press releases. And I mean, honesty never fails. I always hope people are more honest, whether it be reviews or the people in the movies, like just be more on top of it. But yeah, so that's what's been announced and or discussed and what's happening. So let's get into some trailer time.
Oh God, I love that movie.
All right, so first one here isn't really a trailer. It's more of a spot, if you will. But it made me laugh, and I wanted to put it in here. So we have Despicable Me 4. It comes out July 3rd, so just in time for the holiday. And I think what I liked about this spot is it reminds me of those old school spots when they would promote movies, whether it be Roger Rabbit or something, where they're promoting the movie while putting the characters in a movie theater. And I always thought that was a fun little anecdote that they do. I remember Pepsi did it with Darth Vader when the special editions came out, and I like that. I always just enjoyed the Muppets have done that. I always sort of enjoy that. So this was like a throwback for me, and that's why I enjoyed it. And that's actually why I wanted to put it on here, because it felt old school to me. So it's a quick spot. It's fun. It's the Minions being weird, stealing each other's food, stealing each other's seats. Almost very Muppety in a way. But what did you think of this little spot for the 4th Despicable Me?
I think it looks like money. These movies make so much money. And I get it. They're funny. They're cute. Families can laugh together at them. It's something that you can go and have a good time. And this kind of TV spot is exactly that. It's like, the description is like, grab your popcorn, get ready. It's like, that's what they're doing. So I'm all for it.
And it's called the Arms Race spot. So check that out if you want to have a nice little laugh. Especially if you're having a rough day, you want to laugh at some Minions.
Can we talk about how much money these movies have made?
Billions.
Yeah. So the Minions Rise of Gru made, from my understanding, $370 million. Despicable Me 2 made $368 million. Minions made $336 million. Despicable Me 3 made $264 million. Despicable Me made $251 million. Wow. That is a lot of money.
I'm actually surprised it's not higher. Like,
really? That's a lot of money.
I know, but I feel like a lot of the Pixar movies make more than that. But you're right. I mean, it's a complete. Are you looking at domestic? Because I'm seeing first Despicable Me I see is 544 million.
I must be looking at domestic. I just searched Despicable Me box office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably domestic. Oh, yeah, because the second one made 971.
Yeah.
Now the numbers are showing. Yeah, the number 3 made over $1 billion.
So no wonder they keep making these Minions, because they're easy to make.
God.
Yeah,
yes,
they're making a ton of money.
Yeah, like Lacey, the budget for the third one was $80 million, and the movie made $1 billion.
No wonder they have that big Minion on the studio lot in LA. They have that big Minion that overlooks everything.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they have a big inflatable Minion that they were using to promote it, but it's kind of just stayed, from my understanding.
They're gonna make 10 of these, at least. Steve Carell probably. What a job for him.
He's in Despicable Me, and then there's Minions movies that he's not in, right? That's the understanding.
I think so.
Yeah.
But he's in all the Despicable Me's.
Buckets.
Yeah. Just insanity. So yeah, you're right. When you say this looks like money, it does, and it's going to make a ton of money. And I think it's at this point, I'd be shocked if this movie didn't do well, even though we're in a weird state with movie theaters. But Inside Out 2 did really well.
It
So
did. It did very
I
well.
think I think audiences are more selective on when they go to the theaters, but when there is something that is good, they're still going to show up.
Top Gun and Barbie and
Yeah,
Oppenheimer made buckets.
especially people who don't have air conditioning. It's a nice little break in the summer to hop in the movie theater.
The thing
Um,
with me too is that it's not necessarily just the price of movie theaters. It's that movie theater etiquette has gotten really bad. Like,
mhm.
people talk during the movie. I see things online of, like, people straight up bringing their laptops to the movie theater and, like, online while they're watching the movie. They treat it like their living room. Like, this is a public theater.
Awful.
You know, doing crazy stuff. Or, like, one person said there was a mom there watching the movie and they had their kid with them, but their kid's watching their iPhone at full blast. So it's like, what are we
That's
doing here?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I avoid, and I think I only tend to go to the stuff that's like the big premiere movies, because then I know people will take it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we have something here that has had many iterations, obviously starting with the comics, graphic novels. Watchmen is coming back in animated form in a two-part movie, chapters 1 and 2. Adam Driver is attached to this. We got this first teaser here. It's about 50 seconds. We see Rorschach. We see glimpses of Dr. Manhattan, all the classics. It looks great, but what do you think of Watchmen? Do you like Watchmen? Did you read any of the comics, or did you watch that original movie that Zack Snyder did? Where are you at with Watchmen? Also, the HBO thing was a hit too, which was, I guess, different story from this. But
Yeah,
what do you
I
think?
didn't watch the series. I hear it's amazing. I just haven't watched it. Maybe I should add it to my watch list. I did see the Zack Snyder movie because this graphic novel is one of my favorite ones ever of all
Oh,
time.
nice. Oh,
I'm
cool.
assuming with most people it is, but
Yeah.
it definitely is mine. And I know I did like a lot of studying of it and theory papers and whatnot in college on it. But this looks amazing. I think it goes really true to what the graphic novel and comic is. Whereas I feel like Zack Snyder took some choices with his film, and he has every right to do so, as it's his story to tell in that format, but I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
I did not
Ooh.
like the movie. You know what's honestly I'm blanking on her name. Silk, I think her name is. Her casting, I did not agree with. I gotta look it up.
Look it up.
I'm blanking. What's her name?
Are you
She
talking
was
about Malin Ackerman?
Malin Ackerman. She was like in every movie at that time, and
Yeah.
I can't stand her. I cannot stand this actress.
What'd she do to you?
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I'm sure she's a nice person. I don't know if it's that she always plays an annoying person, but she's just not my cup of tea.
So you didn't like the Heartbreak Kid then?
I never saw that.
Hmm.
But like, she was in The Proposal as like Ryan Reynolds' ex-girlfriend, and then she's in a couple other films like 27 Dresses with
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl, where she plays like the annoying little sister.
Yep.
I can't. I see her face and I just get annoyed.
Wow.
Do you have any actors like that, like, you can't stand?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel terrible saying that out loud because I know it sounds crazy, but she ruined the film for me. Like, her acting is so bad that I was like, how did she get this role? Like, what favors did she do to get this
You know
role?
what mine is?
What?
Jay Baruchel for guys.
Oh, you
I
don't
don't
like
know why
him?
that guy annoys the shit out of me.
How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, maybe I'll warm up to him or whatever. But for an actress, even though I love The Office, I can't effing stand Ellie Kemper.
I don't like Ellie Kemper either.
Oh, I don't know what it is. I don't think she's funny. I don't think she's talented.
She was on College Humor for a long time and then worked her way up to get on TV.
Also, I think she has like a shady past. Like she was
Yeah,
in,
like she was in a KKK like debutante
beauty
ball
pageant or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So,
really
like,
tanked her. As soon as that news came out that she was like the queen KKK debutante ball girl, and she came from like a really rich family from like Nebraska, that kind of
very
sank
rich family.
it
Yeah.
sank her career. Like everyone was like, "Oh, we don't like
You know
this."
why? Because they always pitched her as this like kind of stupid ho hum American every girl thing, like
Apple
the cute girl.
pie.
Yeah, the cute girl next door. And then when you find out she just comes from this completely rich background, she probably didn't like struggle at all
Kind of
in life.
racist.
Might be racist. We don't want to say. We're just,
I said kinda. We
yeah.
don't know if
So I just like Bridesmaids is one of the funniest movies of the last 20 years. I
Mhm.
love it. I still
Mhm.
laugh every time I watch it.
Oh, it's so good.
Every time she's on screen, I'm like, get her the F off. Not funny. I can't stand it. So I don't know. So that she's mine. She's my pick. Like I just
So yeah, Silk Spectre 2. It was
Yeah.
Malin Ackerman. I was blanking because I was just like blind annoyance thinking about who played her. I couldn't stand it because I thought a lot of the other casting was great. Patrick Wilson was great. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was great.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan was awesome.
He was the perfect comedian. He was so good. Yeah, I can't.
Jackie Earl Haley as Rorschach just crushed. Too.
Oh, he was great too. But how did she get on this movie? She doesn't match the level of anybody else's acting skills in this movie.
I don't know. Billy Crudup too.
Zack Snyder, please send us an email.
Let us know.
Nice pod, and let me know how she got on this movie because I am really unsure. But I'm excited for this. And the weirdest thing, which we totally buried the lead here, it stars Adam Driver.
Yeah.
It stars Adam Driver, which is very cool. Before we came on the show to record, we were like, who does he play? It is unknown. So do you have any guesses at who you think he plays?
I'm gonna guess he plays Dr. Manhattan.
You think that? I mean, he would play a good Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, like Billy Crudup did such a good job in the first one, and he's a very underrated actor to me. You know, Almost Famous, I think he could have won an Oscar for. I thought he was so great in Big Fish, as Edward's son. I've always liked him, and he's the voice of MasterCard, which is funny. But I thought he did such a good job at this very peaceful sounding tenor voice, but clean, calm as Dr. Manhattan. I thought it was such a great choice. And I could see Adam Driver with his deep voice having a very similar slow delivery, but with power. And, you know, that's what Dr. Manhattan brings. So that's my guess. I heard the Rorschach voice, and I don't think that sounded like Adam Driver to me.
People said it was Will Arnett.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's what people are saying. It's weird to me, by the way, that we're even questioning this because why wouldn't you announce this with the cast?
I agree. Yeah. My guess is Dr. Manhattan. What about you? What do you think Driver's doing?
I agree. I think Dr. Manhattan, I think that kind of makes sense because he doesn't fit any of the other roles.
Yeah.
And then I wonder if people are saying Will Arnett is Rorschach because it sounds like the Batman voice he does for Lego.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, very gruff. He does have a very gruff voice, a very distinct voice.
I gotta say, Lego, anytime I see clips from it, I still laugh the hardest at that part where they're driving in Batman's car and he's like, here, let me put something up. It's like, no parents. He's like singing in the car. He's like crying. It's just so funny. That like took me out. Like I still laugh at it. It's just so funny.
I like that stuff too. It makes me happy. Speaking of happy, we got Smile 2, which you and I actually we were a little behind on our homework. So to just let the audience in on the truth.
I wasn't behind. I looked this up yesterday before I shared this trailer with you. I went into a 20-minute to 45-minute deep dive into Smile.
Oh, you did. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, I
So
did.
I didn't do
I
my
did.
homework. I watched this trailer before we pressed record, and I get to the end, and I see this dude, and this movie's about all these creepy people smiling and whatever it's possession. I don't freaking know. I
Do you
didn't see
want
the
me to
first one.
explain it
I
before
gotta
you get
catch up.
into?
No, let me catch up. Let me
Okay.
watch the first one. I'll
Okay.
put it on what you're watching. I will watch it. But I
I'm
get to the end
interested
of
to
this
see what you
trailer,
say.
and I see this dude smile. I'm like, look at this Jack Nicholson from The Shining guy. And sure enough, it's Jack Nicholson's kid who looks just like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. It like blew my mind.
Mhm.
I didn't even know he had a son who acted.
I didn't either until you said something. You were like, "Go to this point in the trailer," and you pointed out, and is it exactly him?
Well, remind me. We'll tweet it from Nerdy and Nice. We'll do the side by side Jack Nicholson, Evil Smile and Shining, and his son, Evil Smile and Smile 2.
Mhm.
And holy cow,
It's
talk
nuts.
about just pulling the genes all from dad.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wonder if he sounds like him too. That'd be funny. But what do
It
you think
would
of?
be crazy.
You don't like horror movies. We
I
understand that.
don't, but like I said, I have this thing where I get really obsessive about something really quickly, hyperfixation, and I'm like, I need to know everything there is to know about this film. So this is the second one in the series. The first one, Smile, came out in 2022. So 2022. Why
I
am I
remember the
like
marketing. I
yeah.
remember the marketing
So
they
the
did.
marketing mentioned that you said earlier, they did a Major League Baseball game where people were in the stands. That was one of the big things that they did. The movie is about a supernatural curse that haunts people if they witness a death. That is the premise of the movie. It is directed and written by Parker Finn. He did a short film called Laura Hasn't Slept in 2020, and then got a film agreement to then make the bigger film, the first one, Smile, and he actually has the original character from his short film in the first Smile movie, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh,
So they actually shot it in New Jersey, and it was officially set for streaming service on Paramount Plus. It did very well in the theaters as well, so it did Paramount Plus as well as the movie theaters.
all right.
And so many people like myself are going, wow, they're making a second one of these. Yeah, they are, because it made a ton of money. It grossed $105 million in the United States and Canada and $111 million in other territories for a total of $217 million. Deadline Hollywood calculated the net profit for this movie is $101 million. So, of course, they're making the second one, which, if you watch the trailer, it looks like they're going bigger and better this time because they got Naomi Scott, known for Princess Jasmine. She was in Power Rangers. She is the lead character in this new film. She's playing Quinn Parsons. And she plays kind of like a Lady Gaga, Britney
Mhm.
Spears pop star type. It also has Lucas Gage from the second season of You. Not the second, I'm sorry. The third season of You, when he's in London. He's the
Oh,
guy
that's
that
the
was like,
fourth, I thought.
oh, is that the fourth? Oh my God. The fourth season. You're right. I'm so sorry. The second is LA. The third is they go to that little suburb area. And then the fourth, he goes to London.
Yeah.
So Lucas is the guy that like lets people pee on him. He's in this movie.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so she starts to get haunted by this evil entity, and I just have to say, so I haven't seen the first one. I don't like scary movies. It's not my thing. I love Naomi Scott though, so that's why I was so intrigued, and I was kind of like, what is this about? Because the trailer is kind of all over the place, which, by the way, I hate that trailers do that 5-second thing at the beginning that are like, they show you a clip and they're like, now showing that. I hate
Mhm.
it. I hate it. I know why they do it, because on YouTube, you have to have a preview. We do it on this video right here. You have to have a preview roll that auto plays that gets people to watch. And that's why they do it. But to me, it throws off the whole function of the trailer. Like, because it already shows you one of the best parts of the trailer at the very beginning to get your attention, but then spoils it later. And for me, cutting trailers is such an art. Like, if you do a really good trailer, and I think this one is a good trailer and it's clever,
It
but it
is.
ruins one of the moments because they put it at the beginning and it's so stupid.
Mm.
But yeah, so I went into a deep dive of what the first one was about, and I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody that wants to watch it like you do, John. But the ending is bonkers. One of the craziest things I have ever seen clips of and or read. And if you like horror movies, I strongly suggest you go watch this, because then it drove me to watch a behind the scenes reel of the first movie, and it is just as insane how they did it. It's all practical. And yeah, John, I can't wait for you to watch this so we can then talk about it.
I'm surprised you did.
Trust me, it caught me off guard, and it was one of those things I was like, as it's happening, I was like, I can't stop watching, and I was terrified. So I had to then bring down the terrified, scary feeling by watching how they did it, and it didn't help.
Oh my God.
Just made
All right.
it more scary. And I was like, this is terrifying. And so I know Matt wanted to watch it at some point. So he was like, oh, don't tell me, I want to watch it. And I was like, I need someone to talk to about this, because my brain, it's one of those things that like stuck with me for like days now. So if you've seen Smile, come find me on social so we can talk about it, because it is crazy.
Yeah, I gotta see. Oh, it's on Prime.
You know, like the last scene of like Drag Me to Hell or whatever it is, how terrifying that scene is, and it just stays with you. It's like that.
Okay, cool. But
maybe I'll just keep in mind, it's all practical. That's the crazy part. Is we can talk about it later.
All right.
It's
very.
But I look forward to it, and I can't wait to see clips of it online, because there's no way I'm sitting through that whole movie, because I'd be scared for years.
Smile 2 hits theaters 2 days before my birthday.
It does. It does.
October 18th.
And I think too, the other thing that really caught me, my attention at least, is that the director and writer Parker Finn, I just loved hearing the story of like a guy that loves horror that did this short film that then got the first film and then made so much money or over successful, like kind of like Paranormal or Blair Witch Project, and then they go on to be even more successful. So when you read those kind of things where it's like, this guy had this idea and he went with it and he stuck by it, and it's had so much success, it makes you think like, it's never too late to do anything. You know what I mean? It could just happen for you.
Never too late. Never too late.
But
right.
the trailer is scary. What was the scariest part for you?
Oh, I think when the guy was smashing his face with the 45-pound weight.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. Mine was the part where there's people coming down the hallway, and they're all kind of like zombie mob type. And the reason, because it reminded me very much of Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away, where there's this scene where one of the characters is like crawling down the hallway towards the main character like that, and it's just kind of very like primal, animal, terrifying, like moving very quickly, like not natural. And it reminded me of that. It was very, very creepy. And they're all smiling, of course, like,
yeah, that stuff gross. And like possession and stuff is, I don't believe in it in real life, but in movies it's that's some of the
it is
stuff,
scary. Well, buckle up, because I can't wait to hear what you say after watching the first one.
I will watch it. I don't know when, but I will. I will see.
Or after this, go watch the ending if you're not gonna watch it, and tell me how you do.
I used to I mean, is it crazier than Ready or Not's ending?
Yes.
Oh God. All right.
Yes, it is like, I'm telling you, it stays with you for like days later, and you're every once in a while it'll pop in your head, and you'll just like get like a moment.
All right. I'll see where I'm at. I'll be in a good headspace to try to tackle that. But let's get into things that we are watching or going to watch.
We can never leave the house, and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
All right, John, you go first. What are you watching?
Well, obviously The Acolyte. We are watching that and covering that on the Resistance broadcast. If you don't listen or watch the Resistance broadcast and you like Star Wars, what's the matter with you? So Find us on your favorite podcast app, The Resistance Broadcast, on a separate feed from this show. Subscribe, follow, and enjoy. But yeah, The Acolyte, we're covering that every Wednesday night on the YouTube channel live, and then also on your podcast apps the following morning. But also I'm watching Eric on Netflix with Benedict Cumberbatch. A very interesting genre blend type of show.
Puppet, right?
Yeah, puppet, mystery, heavy drama. You know, a guy who's sort of on the outs with a lot of relationships in his life, and it's interesting. I've only gotten through an episode. I just started it, but I do like Benedict Cumberbatch. I was a big fan of Sherlock, and he's good in Marvel, among other things. I like that he can't say penguin. I think that's cool. I actually think. Have you ever seen that clip? Yeah. So I think it'd be funny if he was cast in a Batman movie and had to say penguin all day. But so I'm watching that, and I'm going to watch Beverly Hills Cop Axel F because I like Eddie Murphy, and it was his signature role, and they're bringing back a lot of the original cast from the first one. And Eddie Murphy still looks great for like 62. So
he does look good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out when that hits Netflix. Also, hopefully get some nice fun action movie out of that one. So that's where I'm at. How about you?
Well, of course, watching The Acolyte, which has been interesting. I think it's not been our favorite series from Star Wars on Disney Plus. However, we've been having a blast talking about it. Last Wednesday, we had Children of the Watch on, and we went into some crazy bananas, as John says, theories about the show and where it's going and the characters. And as a Star Wars fan, that's the best part. I always talk about how between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, for me, was one of the best times as a Star Wars fan, coming off that high of The Force Awakens and then going, what does this mean? What's next? Is such a fun part of being a big diehard fan of Star Wars. So I'm interested to see where the series goes, but right now I'm riding high with the speculation. I'm not crazy about the show, but it's okay. It's enjoyable. It's whatever. The other thing I've been watching is, of course, the second section of The Perfect Match on Netflix, which I mentioned previously, a dating show. It is getting spicy in there. Couples are breaking up, getting together, ditching people.
What's the premise of this? Because I watched a little bit of it, and it's like, it's people from the other shows, right?
They bring in kind of like the top eligible bachelors and bachelorettes from all different types of series. And the goal to be you find your perfect match by the end of the series. You get to go on a worldwide, expensive, all paid trip on behalf of Netflix to like wherever you want to go with your new love, because you need to, see the world together. I mean, the most thing is like these people want to be on TV more, so they're on TV. They're all attractive, young 20-somethings on TV.
Brutal.
But yeah, I saw this. It's the second section where couples are kind of getting stronger bonds. They're latching up. They don't want any new people to come into the house, but then they bring all the new people into the house. Everybody that's left, Nick Lachey is like, get on in here, guys, start some drama. So that's where we're at. We're at basically like the finale episode where they decide, because the group together, kind of like Survivor, decides who wins. So if you were not nice the entire time, you could lose.
Is this the show where they're not allowed to bang, where they lose money?
No, that's Too Hot to Handle, which this show does have those people on.
That's why I remember seeing a couple of them being like, "Oh, they're either from
Too Hot to
Love is
Handle is on
Blind
there."
or-
Yeah, Love is Blind. Ultimatum. There's people from the Ultimatum on there. There's Dated and Related is one of the shows, which I've never watched. I usually stay within the Nick Lachey cinematic universe on Netflix. But I will have to let you guys know what happens. But gearing up for a spicy finale. Hopefully they don't do a live finale. They tried to do a live finale for Love is Blind a couple years ago, and it did not go well. It never aired.
How about, I mean, I'm sure he makes a lot of money doing this, but he does it with his wife, and it's probably not that hard of a gig. Like, I feel like Nick Lachey's finally hurdled Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake went to jail for drinking and driving. So I'm
I know,
saying,
I understand.
so yes, I think he definitely did because he's laying back comfortable in the Caribbean, coming in once a day for 2 minutes going, okay, guys, get to know each other. Be back later. And he leaves.
And he's probably
So,
not driving.
no. And he's living in the Caribbean for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks while they shoot
Yeah.
this stuff, and shows up for maybe a half an hour to shoot these little segments and then leaves.
Gets his hair dyed brown number 5, shows up on
Yeah.
set.
His little kids, he calls it a day.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
more like bands. But what I'm excited to watch, which I haven't had the chance, which I'm sure people are screaming at me about, is the second part of season 3 of Bridgerton. I have not watched it yet.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
right.
I need to watch it. But I kind
too.
of like have been holding out because they announced that the next season isn't going to come for 2 years. I don't know when did TV turn into this, that we're waiting years and years and years and years and years for the next season? Like Stranger Things. No one's going to care about that show by the time it comes back.
Oh, yeah, they will. Come on.
You
I
think
thought
so?
that about season 4, and then like season 4 crushed.
It
So-
did crush. It was the best season.
And it's also the last Stranger Things, Sean Levy. I think
I
that will
know.
still do monster numbers.
But Sean Levy
But
just wrapped Deadpool. He said it was bittersweet that they wrapped.
How are they going to bridge this gap between these seasons?
You're the worst.
I love when
Anyway,
it takes you like
that's-
3 seconds.
That's what I'm watching.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of the show. Let us know what you're watching in the comments. Let us know what you think about what we're watching. And if there's something you think we should watch, hit us up. Nerdy and Nice Pod on X, Nerdy and Nice Pod on Instagram, and anywhere else on our personal accounts. Johnny Hoey, Lacey Gilleran.
Mm-hmm.
It's Lacey Gilleran on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, for Star Wars, hit us up at TRB Podcasts. And make sure you're subscribed to both shows. And please spread the word. And last but not least, this show and probably TRB might not exist without the support of our patrons. Lacey and I, it's a 2-person show, 2-person operation for both shows. We have jobs, we have families. We are trying to grow this as much as possible. And there's zero chance we could do it without the support of our patrons. So head to patreon.com/TRB podcasts. Check out our tiers from the marquee majors all the way up to the silver screen Spice Runners. Tiers start at just $5. We have exclusive mini episodes for both Nerdy and Nice and the Resistance broadcast on there. We're also going to be doing watch-alongs probably once the Acolyte ends for Star Wars. That's been taking up a lot of our time and things settle in. We'll start doing watch-alongs and a lot of cool stuff on Patreon. We have Q&As, meetups, Discord server. Just go check it out. Patreon.com/TRB podcasts. Again, tiers start at $5 a month. We have yearly options now as well. And the support goes to help not only keep our shows alive, keep them growing, and allow us to expand and do things like this, Nerdy and Nice, which is a brand new podcast. So thank you all so much for your existing support or future support. And Lacey, we have to give a special shout out to the movie star generals and the silver screen Spice Runners. Carmelo, John Risi, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brennan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, and Colin Cormier, and David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and THEFORTWORTHIAN. Thank you all so much. And Lacey and I will be back with you on Wednesday night to talk about The Acolyte at 8:30 p.m. East on youtube.com/TRB podcast. Lacey, who's joining us on Wednesday?
Kevin from Toying Around is making his return to the TRB base to talk Acolyte.
Yeah, we had a blast last time we had Kevin on, so look forward to hearing his thoughts on the Acolyte. And then, of course, we'll be back with you next week, next Monday on Nerdy Nice for another Nerd Sesh here in Nerdville. Why?
Sure.
Why?
Why? Why?
Because
Just say it.
Mondays are for the nerds. All right, Lacey, anything for our people out there before we get out of here?
No, I thought that was the end right there.
That was the end. So until
Okay.
next time from us here at Nerdy Nice, we'll see you around, kids.
Bye.